As usual with every section, we want to finish things up just by checking out git status. We see we got some modified files, so let's add those and commit them with a message of implemented subscription-based product. And maybe I'm just going to use that name, Grow Hack 2. And let's just make sure we can get this all working. So I'm going to git push it. So I just have a copy on GitHub for myself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to git push Heroku master. I can actually start typing this now, git push Heroku master. I'm not going to force you to wait for this to upload, as it looks like it's running a little slow for me. So in a second, once this is uploaded, we'll go through it and test it out and make sure that it's working on Heroku. Okay, so it took a couple of minutes for everything to work for me to upload it to GitHub and to Heroku, but that now is all done. So the next thing we want to do is make sure that we've got the database in the right state, because remember, we created some new seed data. So on Heroku, we're going to want to run the following command. We want to have Postgres pg reset the database. This is a way of handling the database resets on Heroku. And if you hit return, it's going to tell you that it's a destructive action. So we need to proceed. We're going to need to confirm by just typing in the name of our application. So it's just making absolutely sure we really wanted to do this. And what this is going to do is this is going to reset the database. So now we can recreate it. We can Heroku run rake db migrate to go create the structure of the database. And then once that's done creating all the tables and the columns, then what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to Heroku run rake db seed. Oops, excuse me, that's not going to work because it was too many E's. But when I type it, Heroku run rake db seed, this is then going to put the seed database, the seed data into Heroku. And now we can go into a browser and we can open up 1 month stripe.herokuapp.com. So we can go open this up on Heroku and go through the process of purchasing and make sure that this works. Purchase it. We can see, by the way, it's saying it's charging monthly for unlimited access to our mentoring team, 6 months. And there we go. There's the functionality successfully working on Heroku as well. So we've built a very, very simple subscription system. But I do want to take a little bit of time. I don't want to make this too complicated, at least at the moment, by building a comprehensive subscription payment system. But I do want to give you the heads up that it's a non-trivial undertaking. Let's have a look, because it seems pretty simple, right? We changed a couple of lines of codes and now we can take subscriptions. But that ends up not being the hard part of the process. And in fact, if you go to stripe.com/docs/guides/subscriptions, it'll give you a sense of some of the other things that you need to be thinking about. Generally, the challenges around subscriptions are you need to implement something called webhooks, which is basically a URL that Stripe can call. So we would create a special page on our Rails app that Stripe could call us every time certain types of things happened. Because the kind of problems we get into is, how do we allow someone to cancel their subscription? What happens if payments failed? How do we know at any given time whether or not a subscriber is still paid up? I know that they've been on the subscription for a month and a half, but are they still paying? Was their credit card charged successfully last time? And there are answers to all this, and we can build out a system that solves all of this. But it's important to realize that it's a substantially more complex undertaking than just throwing up the subscription form. If I was building this out for real, the first thing I might start off with is a subscription form. And worst case, you can go live at that point in time, right? Minimum viable product. You do not have the problem of people needing to cancel subscriptions until you have subscriptions. So maybe you could start by charging people. Then the next thing I would probably do is add my account functionality so that somebody would be able to cancel their subscription. If you've got a small number of users, you might not need to do that. You can actually go in through the admin interface and just cancel their subscription manually. So it would be possible to implement a system where somebody just emails you if they want to cancel their subscription. In terms of handling things like payment failures and knowing whether or not a user actually was still authenticated, again, that would probably be the next level I'd add. But I could argue that in the early days, who really cares, right? The vast majority of your customers are going to be paying you. And assuming you don't have an out-of-pocket cost, does it really matter if a small percentage have failed to pay you successfully? But once this becomes a scale business and you've got lots of people using it, that would be the next thing I'd build in, the webhooks and the ability to keep up to date with the subscription status of all of your subscribers. And then finally, and this might come a little earlier if you have multiple plans and you find a lot of people jumping between them, you might want to implement the ability for people to upgrade or downgrade plans and or to make one-time payments for specific add-ons or extra products. So the really nice thing about most of this is you can ignore it just to get something out the door, but bear in mind that as you start to scale the business, you're going to have to add these things over time.